it's like really cold here in California, which I say really cold, but it's only probably like 70 degrees, but I'm just a little wimp and I'm freezing and missing London, so today we have a sweater on. Hello everyone, my name is Paige, and today we are going to be doing a very fantasy-filled book haul. In the middle of October, Book Outlet had a 15% off sale where everything was like 15% off on their website. So I figured I haven't made a Book Outlet order in a while, and there was like a ton of books that were really cheap that I wanted to get because I've been reading a lot more fantasy lately, and so I was like, well, I need to build up a little bit more of my fantasy collection because some of these books, the wait list at my library is so long, and I'm like, no, I don't want to wait. I just want them. And typically most of the fantasy that I read, I really end up loving. So I was like, okay, I'm going to keep these books. And then if not, if I end up giving them away or selling them off to my used bookstore or something, they were only like, each of them I think was like $2 or $3 each. I think the most expensive one was maybe $4. But then I also got like an additional 15% off of my total price. Plus I got free shipping. So yes. I feel like I'm justifying this for my parents who watch these videos because I'm like, yes, I did spend money on books, but it wasn't a lot. Okay, so I got 13 books and I'm just going to jump right into them. One of the first books I made sure to get was Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore. I read this one a couple years ago and loved it, gave it 5 out of 5 stars, so I've been looking for a copy for a really long time, and the ones I had on Amazon were like really expensive for some reason because I prefer paperbacks to hardcovers. I've been looking for a paperback for a while and I saw this one on Book Outlet, so I was like, obviously I'm gonna get this. From what I remember of this story, it's about magical realism, and there's Hispanic main characters, and the writing was just super lush and beautiful. And there's also a little bit of mystery aspect in it because there's a random boy that shows up. So it's this group of like sisters and mothers that live together, and if they fall in love too deeply, the people that they fall in love with disappear, so they're pretty secluded on their land. I think a lot of people have already read this by now, but if you haven't, I would highly recommend it. I think it's one of the best of Anna Marie McLemore's work. I've read this one and Blanca and Roja, and I actually liked this one a lot better, but Blanca and Roja is also really good. So I definitely recommend reading this one first of Anna Marie McLemore's work because I think it's one of the best. But I also got Dark and Deepest Red, which is going to come out in, let's see, January. So I need to read this one as well, but I love all of Anna Marie McLemore's work. The next book I got is one because I've been trying to get into this author's work, and like, I mean the whole series of work, and that is Terrier by Tamara Pierce. This is part of the Becca Cooper series, which comes before the first series about Alana in the Tortall series. So this takes place, I guess, like 300 or 400 years before Alana like went off and became a knight and all of that. A lot of people are very familiar with this series and really love it, and back in the day, and I mean like way back in the day when I was in like 3rd grade or something, I would often pick up Tamara Pierce's books from my local library, but I never understood that there was like an order you had to read them in. So now that I like have Goodreads and a better understanding of that, I'm going to try to read the entire series. So I'm starting with Alana. I've already finished that one, and then I'm moving on to the next one, and then I'm eventually going to get to this part of this series. So I'm trying to just get all of the books in it. All of Tamara Pierce's works include like some sort of magic system, including this one. I think Becca Cooper can like either speak to animals or like transform into one. I might be wrong about that, but basically she's like from this like slum type city, and she uses her magic to become this really awesome killer. I think that's what it's all about. I didn't realize how big this book is, and I also didn't realize that the pages had like these really awesome, like, what would you call that? Like design, I guess, around the text. So I really like it. I really like this edition of it. So I definitely will have to get the rest of these. The next book I got was Dreams of Gods and Monsters, and this is by Laini Taylor. Of course, this is the 3rd book in the Shadow and Bones. No, is it? This is the 3rd book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. I haven't read the first 2, and I've been meaning to get the 3rd one literally for like the past 4 years or something, and I've never managed to get one in paperback because, again, I really don't like hardcovers, and it takes forever for paperbacks to come out, I guess. But anyway, so now I finally have this one. I can just binge through the entire series, which is great, and I can finally read some Laini Taylor work because I never have before. The next book I got was Scarlet by A.C. Galfin. Galfin? I think that's how you say it. This edition actually is really cool because I always like to check my Book Outlet books to see if they're signed, just because sometimes they kind of pop up, and this one was, and I wasn't expecting that at all. I didn't buy like a specifically signed copy or anything. It just came that way. So that was really awesome. Basically, this book kind of is like giving me similar vibes just from the synopsis to the Alana series that I was talking about with Tamara Pierce, because the main girl actually is posing as a boy, and she runs around with Robin Hood and his gang of thieves, and there's like magic, I guess, and trickery that's going on, so it just sounds really good. I also think this has like a little bit of a Red Riding Hood theme to it as well, like a kind of a spin on that, but I could be wrong about that because it doesn't say anything like that from the back, but I feel like I've heard that from other people, so who knows, I'll figure it out when I read this. The next book I got was The Valiant by Leslie Livingston, and this is a book that takes place in like ancient Rome times, and our main character, Fallon, is a warrior. She's also the daughter of a king, so she's a princess as well, which, as most people know, I love in my fantasy books. I love like royalty and magic and political strife, so I think this is going to hit all of those points. But basically the main character, Fallon, is sold into Julius Caesar's army as a gladiator, and she has to like fight to the death and stuff, and it just sounds so badass and cool. I think the first time that this came on my radar was when I actually met the author at a panel of like book author. Does that make sense? Like there was a bunch of different authors and they were all doing a signing, but I didn't have any of Leslie Livingston's work, but she was talking about the series and I was like, yes, I want to read about like badass women that fight, and you know, it just sounds super cool. Also, this cover and like her outfit kind of reminds me of how the women in Wonder Woman dress, like the Amazons, so that's very cool as well. That's probably how I'll just picture them in my head. And also the other reason I'm really excited about reading this too is because when I was in Rome this last summer, we got to see the Colosseum where they had like a bunch of gladiator fights, so of course I'll just like have that image in my head while I'm reading this as well, and it's just gonna be super cool. Going along with that same kind of like gladiator type story is Kill the Queen, and this is by Jennifer Estep. I saw a lot of people talking about this on Twitter and like Bookstagram and stuff, and I know there's like pretty mixed reviews about it, but for me, again, like royalty, people killing each other, some kind of magic system, and like political strife is exactly what I love in my fantasy books, so I think I'm really gonna like this. Basically, the main character, Evie, is like 17th in line for the throne, and her sister overtakes the throne from their mother, and the rest of the royal family is attacked, so Evie uses her magic to go into hiding. After doing so, she falls in line with this gladiator troupe, and shenanigans ensue, and there's some talk about taking back the throne and just kind of finding redemption for herself, and that just sounds amazing, so I can't wait to read this one. Alright, this next one is Flamecaster by Cinda Williams-Chima. I have seen Cinda Williams-Chima's work like for ages, and I've never picked it up. I think I've just never been really intrigued by the covers, but then when they did this cover redesign, I was like, oh, holy crap, that looks amazing. It kind of has like Throne of Glass vibes, and I have to say, like, as much as I hated that series and like couldn't get through it, I have to admit I really love the covers, and like just the premise for it sounds interesting, so I don't think this is supposed to be anything like that, of course, but like I said, I bought it for the cover. And the plot, of course. All it says from the back is that there's a prince and a girl with a royal curse, and obviously that just sounds amazing. There's magic involved. I think they can cast like flames. No, but seriously, I think they can use magic to like use different elements. Let me look it up. Hey Siri, give me a synopsis of Flamecaster by Cinda Williams-Chima.
I'm not finding anything for that.
So basically what this story is about is there are two main characters. One is the son of a queen, and in this queendom, which sounds amazing, usually it's a kingdom, but it's a queendom, the queendom has been overtaken by this evil king, and the prince is thrown into exile basically, and along the way of like trying to take back his kingdom, he runs into this girl who has a curse, and the king is going after her, and it just sounds like amazing story, and they're trying to take back the kingdom, you know, and really like do good and kick ass, you know, take names along the way, so I can't wait to get to this one. The next book I picked up was The Wicked Deep, and this is by Shay Earnshaw. I had posted a picture about The Wicked Deep on Instagram, which you should totally follow me on Instagram, and a lot of people said that they really enjoyed this book, so I was like, okay, well, of course I'll just, you know, buy myself a copy because it's like $3. Basically, in the story, centuries ago, three sisters were tried as witches and they were drowned. Each summer, the three sisters return for a brief time and lure boys into the harbor and drown them. And of course, there is a boy new to town, and there is a girl that's worried about him and she doesn't want the sisters to drown him, so there's just like chaos and mystery ensuing, and this girl, I guess, has to kind of like take back the boy and make sure that the sisters do him no harm. But then along the way, she must decide if she should save herself or the boy. So it just sounds like it's gonna be really good. I like books that have like a witchy element to it, and I haven't read one in a really long time, and now that Halloween's here, it's like the perfect time for it. So I don't think I'll get to this one before Halloween, but it is like the perfect thing to read in autumn and fall and winter and just, you know, anytime. The next book I got was The Last Namsara, and this is by Kristen Cicciarelli. I had to practice that like 3 times before I said it on camera, and I still think I got it wrong. So I've seen this book around a lot, and honestly the reason why I didn't pick it up was because I absolutely hate this cover. I don't know why. I think it's like the way she's kissing the blade really freaks me out. I'm like, don't do that, you're gonna cut yourself. But then I read the synopsis for it and I was super intrigued, so I really forced myself to be like, look beyond the cover and to the story within. In this story, the main character slays dragons, which sounds amazing, but she also has troubles of her own, and she is being forced into a marriage with a cruel commander, and he holds truths about her real nature. And of course, there comes about that there's a deal where she can kill the most fearsome dragon in the land and basically escape this betrothal, so she takes that chance and meets a cast of characters along the way, and it just sounds really amazing. I mean, girls that slay dragons and are like, no, I'm not gonna marry this annoying ass dude, or this guy that like holds all my secrets. That just, yes, I'm gonna read this, of course. But like, please, this cover. Ugh. This next one is by an author I have actually never read before, and that's The Glass Bear by Lauren De Stefano. Again, this was kind of a cover buy for me, but also once I read the synopsis, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get it. Because for me, when I buy books on, especially like Book Outlet, I put them in my cart, and then for like 5 days, I'm like, do I really want this? No, and then I delete that one, and then I add this one and delete that and read the synopsis like a million times. All of these are like thoughtful purchases. Basically, the main character in this story, Will, finds that once she touches people, they turn to gemstones, and she feels trapped in this kingdom by her father, but she gets the chance one day to escape and explore the world outside. Of course, in doing so, she comes upon this prince who has other ideas for her and the ways that he can use her powers, but I'm sure she's having none of that, so there are just adventures that ensue. I know that some people haven't liked Lauren De Stefano's work in the past, but I'm really interested to check it out, especially something like this that has come out much later than her other work, so hopefully her writing has developed a little bit more. But either way, I'm just really excited. And I know this is part of a series too. Okay, we're getting to the end of the pile. The next book I got was, oh my god, I'm like spitting on myself. The next book I got was The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. This is part of like a pretty long series. I think there's already like 6 or 7 books, but they're also very thin, and I really want to check out the series, so I picked up the first one. I feel like I can't say this any better than this last sentence on the back of the book, so I'm just gonna read that to you. The Queen's Thief novels are rich with political machinations and intrigue, battles lost and won, dangerous journeys, divine intervention, power, passion, revenge, and deception. That's like my ultimate fantasy book. I mean, I just love all of those words that were just said, so I can't wait to check this out. We're running out of room. Okay, the next book I picked up was Reawakened, and this is by Colleen Hook. Hook? No, I have no idea how to pronounce that name. What really interested me about this was that it is about a modern girl, and then she awakens some sort of curse, and then this guy from ancient Egypt reawakens, and I used to be obsessed with Egypt when I was a kid. Like, I always wanted to go to the pyramids and everything, and I was so interested with like King Tut and sarcophaguses and stuff like that. I don't know, it was just like super interesting to me. So once I saw the premise for this, I was like, okay, well, I have to get that. There's Egyptian mythology, which I also love, strewn throughout this, so I cannot wait to read this. And again, part of a series, so very, very excited about that. And I love this cover. It's so, so cool. Oh, is it gonna fit? Yeah. Alright, and the last book I got was Reign of Shadows by Sophie Jordan. Okay, so a lot of people have been talking about this book, and I at first got it confused with A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kemner. I don't know why the covers are, I mean, sort of similar, but like the titles are completely different, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Basically, this book is about a main character named Luna who has been locked away in a tower for the past 17 years, so which is how old she is. Ever since her kingdom, no, not her kingdom, well, kind of her kingdom. Ever since the kingdom was thrown into perpetual darkness during an eclipse. And of course, Luna feels stifled by the tower that she's living in and longs for life beyond the walls. And she's drawn to this mysterious boy named Fowler who comes to look for a land that is not thrown in darkness perpetually, and he's searching for sunshine. And I'm sure he finds her and they find sunshine together. And like the last line in the synopsis, falling in love might be their most dangerous journey yet. Oh, how can you not love fantasy, honestly? And like cheesy lines like that. This sounds like a take on the fairy tale Rapunzel, which I really love, and I love the movie Tangled and like fairy tale retellings, so I'm very excited to read this. And no one's a fairy in this, so that sounds great. So this is all of the books I got in my book outlet haul. It was actually a pretty decent haul, and there was a bunch of stuff that I'm obviously very excited for. I'm excited for every single one, because otherwise, if I wasn't excited for them, why would I have bought it? I can't wait to start reading these, and if you guys have any other fantasy recommendations for me, definitely let me know. I have my own fantasy recommendations video that you can check out here, somewhere. I don't know where I am inside this box. And of course, as always, if you're looking for a way to protect your favorite fantasy books, definitely check out SoCal Girls in the link down below. We make book sleeves, me and my mom. We're an independent store and we run completely out of our own home, and we love making these for everyone. So these are some of our newest designs. Some of them are still 20% off for our Halloween harvest sale, but that only lasts until October 31st, so definitely get them before the end of the week. We might extend the sale a little bit, but don't tell anyone. As I said, there is links and information all down below, and along with the coupon code that you can use at checkout to get 20% off some of our sleeves. There's still a bunch of summer sleeves that are on sale from our summer collection, so you can grab those already at a deep discount. And the rest of our book sleeves you can get 10% off on when you use code PAGE10 at checkout. So either way, you're saving a bunch of money. We also have scrunchies down there, and we're possibly thinking of making bookmark sleeves. I made this one just the other day, and I kind of did like a little poll on Instagram, and people responded really well to it. So if you're interested in these as well, definitely leave me a comment below and let me know. We might be making these very soon, but you can definitely get the book sleeves now, so check those out. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You can find me in the links below on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!